Hi, everybody. Keith from iCabinetry Direct.
Explain the fundamental difference between inset and overlay cabinets.
This is an inset door from iCabinetry and StarMark. And inset cabinetry is made of stile and rail construction. So it's a framed cabinet, just like overlay cabinetry. The primary difference between inset and overlay cabinetry, and it's super simple, is this. The door and the drawer head are inset or set in to the face frame on an inset cabinetry versus on an overlay cabinet door. The doors are on the outside. They lay over the top of the face frame, and on inset, the doors and the drawers are set in to the face frame. Inset has been around forever, and it's experiencing a resurgence in popularity like things do. A product that you'll see in a lot of older homes, homes from the early 1900s have inset cabinetry, and it was a popular style of cabinetry then, and it's become popular again, but it's been around forever. 20 years I've been selling these cabinets, and people have been asking for inset cabinetry, but it's a lot more popular these days. I can't explain why people love it. It's what people want. It's super popular with the designers these days. It's a clean look when you look at this versus an overlay look. It's made with super tight tolerances, and there's a lot of detail put into making sure these tolerances are equal and tight so that it's a really clean looking finished product, and people really like that. The designers really like it.
What does inset require that overlay might not?
You need to think through some of the design aspects of using inset cabinetry. For instance, if you use inset cabinetry, your drawer head has to fit within the face frame, right? Because it's set into the face frame. And then the drawer box is a little narrower than the drawer head, right? Obviously. So a drawer box on an inset cabinet, the actual wooden box that you put your knives and forks and cutlery dividers in, is a little narrower than it is on a full overlay cabinet. The drawer head is sitting on the outside of the frame, like we talked about. The drawer head and the door overlay the frame on the exterior, and the drawer box is the only thing that's sliding in and out of the opening. On an overlay cabinet, you get a little more depth or plates and platters and such because the door is sitting on the outside of the box and the outside of the frame. On an inset, the door is set into the face frame, stiles and rails, so that your depth is slightly different. It's 3/4 of an inch difference on an inset. And that doesn't really matter usually, but it can. So it's good to talk that through with your designer. Some of the apparatus that you might use for storage options, the double trash pull-out, a Lazy Susan, you have to consider all those things a little differently with inset than you do with overlay. But that's a good designer can walk you through all that, and it's super manageable, and you can have your storage options with either, but there's just added nuances to think about with.
Is that something your designers help with?
Absolutely. Our designers help with that all the time.
Do overlay require knobs and pulls versus inset?
Inset always requires hardware, because there's no other way to get at it. So you have to use knobs or pulls with inset. With overlay, usually people use knobs and pulls, almost always, but sometimes they'll prefer an option to have finger pull routing or something carved into the back of the door on an overlay. And you can do that on overlay. You can't do that on inset.
Are inset cabinets actually more expensive? If so, walk us through why. What is driving the cost difference?
Inset cabinets are actually more expensive. And the reason is they take a lot longer to make than normal overlay cabinets. It takes much longer to properly make inset cabinets than it does overlay cabinets. And you'll hear this when people are saying, well, I've heard that it's really hard to install inset cabinets. That's not true. It's not harder to install inset cabinets than it is to install overlay cabinets. What's hard is to make inset cabinets. That's what's hard. And that's what StarMark excels at. For a well-made inset cabinet, that's what drives the cost up. And you add that to the quality of materials that StarMark uses, the 3/4 inch plywood, the solid wood, stiles and rails, face frames, Blum hinges for the concealed hinges, Heffala finial hinges if you want an exposed hinge. So they use A, high quality materials, and B, take the time to construct it correctly. And because of that, it costs more. If you want a premium product, it costs more. Some people that approach us don't realize that these are always assembled. These are always made to order. These are not an RTA knockdown type of product that's like, I always equate that, and I know it's sort of tongue in cheek, but between, do you want a kit to build your own Volkswagen car, or do you want to buy a pre-made Mercedes? When you buy, StarMark cabinetry, you're buying a pre-made custom cabinet that a lot of high quality material and labor has gone into, hand labor gone into making that product. And that's why our product costs more. I don't know why other people's products cost more.
Is the investment worth it?
It's like, what do you want in your kitchen forever? Oh, it's a beautiful piece of furniture for your kitchen that you're going to have forever if you wanted to keep it forever. And that's where things happen in the family, right? Around the dinner table, in the kitchen, making meal. You want that to be beautiful and stand up and last forever.
When does it make sense to spend more on inset versus overlay?
When you have it in your budget, and that's the really design of the product that you really want for that space, for that project. StarMark also makes full overlay cabinetry, and they put a lot of time and attention, the same high quality materials into making that. It doesn't take quite as long on the framing up of the doors and the spacing of the inset, which is what adds labor to the inset. But everything else, much of the product being handmade and the finish standards, the quality standards of the material makes their overlay a custom premium cabinet as well. So it's just a matter of, do I have the money for the inset in the budget? And by the way, our inset pricing, yes, you're buying a premium product, but compared to some other quote unquote designer brands, we're half. It's about what you got in the budget for and what do you want.